All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's that segment where we bring you stories that made it to the front page of select national newspapers this morning. We'll begin with the Daily Trust. And the Daily Trust is leading with a single headline this morning on account of the advert on the front page. And the story reads, LGBT. Nigeria signs $150 billion Samoa deal. Clerics here so furious. It is not about same-sex marriage. Minister's aide, National Assembly didn't consider agreement. That's coming from Representative Yusuf. It's a very contentious issue.
To the minister's aide, I think this is above his pay grade. But I think the government needs to tread carefully. I think the jury is out about what Nigerians want. I remember the protests last year in Plateau and in some other places. I remember the position of the various religious and other faith-based organizations on this one.
And the National Assembly
is a no-go area.
If you recall, and we have an existing law.
This is non-negotiable. Yeah. No matter the trillions of dollars that will be pumped in to this initiative,
this is a
if this is on the table, I think we all know where Nigerians stand on this one.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take a look at the front page of the Punch newspaper for today. Here are the stories. National Assembly scores federal government low on budget implementation. Okay, that's very rich. In other news, Customs intercept 1.6 billion naira military wares, rifles from Turkey, and 10-hour rainfall. Businesses grounded. House collapses as flood overtakes Lagos. And you can see some of the images there. We've been showing you videos from the flood incident in Lagos yesterday. Southeast leaders step up move to free Nnamdi Kanu. Father, son remanded for allegedly stealing 75 million naira from a Lagos firm. Senate probes $4 billion refineries repairs, hazardous diesel import. These and many more stories you can find on the pages of the Punch newspaper for today.
Interesting. We move on to the Vanguard newspaper this morning, and it has the major story there on healthcare crisis, high cost of drugs to persist as local production flops. I mean, you don't replace a GSK overnight.
I also saw reading this very interesting piece about why GSK left. And the argument was quite multidimensional. That part of it is because they no longer see the Nigerian market as a viable market, but you know, it's a host of so many other things, and their departure was almost inevitable. There was nothing.
Yeah, but there's so much to it. For some of this company, it wasn't just about the Nigerian market. It was a hub to leverage the West African sub-region. And if we are not providing the environment that would enable that kind of competitiveness, then it makes no sense to continue to be here, unfortunately. And that has implication for jobs, for tax.
Easy access to some of these drugs also.
To other stories, Disco's hike Band A tariff by 1.3% to 209. 0.5 kilowatts, 209.5 naira per kilowatts. I think that's the way to put it. Uniben students block Benin Lagos road over power outage. I mean, we saw another press release from ABU. Yeah. We are seeing a number of schools, complaining, and we need to really appropriately distinguish what we do with institutions, because like you rightly mentioned, they are not revenue generating agencies. They are a social service, they are a support fiber for societal development. Terrorists kidnapped Kaduna judge, kills son and demands 300 million ransom. My goodness. And CBN warns bank against rejecting dirty, mutilated Naira note. I mean, the day before it was the warning about the dollar note. Today it's the Naira note. And these are some of the stories on the front page. Of course, we have lamentations, chaos as flood grounds Lagos. All right, and coming back to the studio.
Announcing the return.
Yeah. If we were in the club, we would have been talking about Dorime.
Yeah, the proverbial prodigal son has returned.
Yeah, the Mr. Thursday himself.
Yeah.
It's back. I'm not sure we have the capacity to explain to you what has happened in the last couple of days, but every man deserves his sabbaticals. I think it gets to a point where you just need to refill.
Yeah.
And to refill, you have to run away from the hustles and bustles of the city to a place where you don't get any of these challenges. It enables you rest and recharge for what lies ahead. We have joining us in the studio the editor-in-chief of Dateline newspaper, Malan Nasrullah. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Manas, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's good to be here, and thank you for speaking for me.
Okay, that doesn't explain away.
No.
Your absence.
He doesn't need to say anything anymore.
All right. I don't know whether that is sufficient, but that's the much I know. We have said it. I mean, starting with the issues on the front page, and this morning we all woke up with the implications of that on the social media. It's making the rounds now. This completely signpost for Nigeria is what appears to be a Greek gift, wrapped around a 150 billion investment deal, but providing conditionalities for lesbianism, gay, and and the pro-abortion stand. These are things that we are fundamentally against as far as this country is concerned. We have laws, that completely speaks against the adoption of these practices in Nigeria. What does this say to you?
Well, it's quite unfortunate, that we are still going cap in hand, begging for money, from all these Western institutions. And like we always say, he who pays the piper, calls the tune. And that's exactly what is happening. If we can, get to exploit our own resources, be able to benefit from it. Honestly, we have no reason to go to any Western institution, even within Africa, to be begging for money. And I also saw what the federal government, is trying to say, that there is no mention of the LGBT in the whole agreement. You don't expect it, to be in black and white. This is something that is talking about productive health, rights, sexual and what have you. So you should know. That's basically what they're after. They want you to be able to give, similar space to the people that, classify themselves under the LGBT and what have you. But in Nigeria, we have a law. And if you take away the law, we also have the two major religions in Nigeria. We are clear on that. So I don't know why the government is trying to, go behind, using the back door to be able just to access this money. And I don't even think we will be able to access $150 billion from EU. I don't think there is any way we will be able to do that. And if you are able to do that, how do you benefit from it when the society is on fire? Because that's where we are heading. Yeah, because
what do you think of this gamble? Because clearly, the people in power know the position of the Nigerian society on this. The Goodluck administration was very firm and very clear about it. The last time this was, brought to the public space, and it was a resounding no. And we're also hearing the echoes from the Ghana Parliament, for instance, right? In East Africa, countries like Uganda, Malawi, and the rest, for instance, it's safe to say that the continent is staunchly against, this particular, direction. What do you think the Tinubu administration is doing? Is this yet another move to test the waters? Because a deal like this could be quite detrimental, not just for the political future of the administration, but for Nigeria as a country.
Well, it's possible they are trying to test the waters, but as they say in my own, my people say, you don't test the depth of the water with both feet. And that's basically what they're trying to do. You are likely to lose everything, and it's not something that is likely to stop within your administration, only because we are talking about Nigeria as a society. There is no way, something like this can come in the open and then you expect Nigerians to just remain calm and behave as if nothing is happening. So honestly, the president, even if he is not the one that is maybe directly in charge of this deal I'm talking about, honestly, I think he should take charge. And the better, the sooner he rescinds this decision, the better for all.
The minister's aide is saying how this is not about LGBT plus related cases. What do you make of some of the explanations around what they're saying this whole $150 billion deal is all about?
But he's not denying the fact that they're also talking about sexual rights, production, health, and
reproductive rights.
So, and these are things that they are like euphemism for LGBT. Because if you are talking about sexual rights, they just want you to also agree that somebody that is different from you should be allowed to coexist. But this is Nigeria. We have our laws, we have our customs, and this is what we are working on.
But last year, when everybody else was trying to take part in the deal, Nigeria was conspicuously not part of it.
Even the National Assembly too.
Yeah, certainly.
So how is this now the new reality exactly?
Honestly, I don't know at what point, we decided to have a change of mind because, like the whole of Africa, is looking up to Nigeria to lead the way. But if we are going, against what has been agreed among so many African countries to leave that, honestly, I don't think we are helping the country in the long run.
All right. We move on to some of the stories that made the headlines on the Vanguard newspaper. It's talking about the health crisis and how high cost of drugs seem to persist as local production flops. Basically, the report also indicates that just only about 25% of the drugs we consume in this country are locally produced. We've seen moves, recently about the government removing withholding tax from health imports, of raw materials that would benefit pharmaceuticals and all. But is that enough? Because today we are shifting away from oil being the major gulf of forex to pharmaceuticals, and we know how critical pharmaceuticals are. Matter of fact, I doubt if there is any home that is not dealing with a constant drug request for one kind of management disease or the other. How significant is this problem upon us right now?
And because of the state of the present state of the economy, people are dealing with so much, depression. People are just refusing to,
manifest.
Succumb to their illnesses because they don't even know what will happen. People are just moving about trying to make sure that the body and, stays together. So honestly, like what the minister said not long ago, that he is working on, is it a bill or a policy, that will reduce the cost of medications, especially in Nigeria, because right now treating little illnesses such as malaria and what have you, things that you can. Honestly, it's beyond the reach of the ordinary Nigerian.
The NHIS hospitals are now turning down registered NHIS staffers because they say whatever is offered as that benchmark stipend just cannot.
It's no longer feasible.
It's no longer feasible to maintain or to provide services for those illnesses.
At those rates, it's quite bad. I mean, since last year, since the whole inflation situation began to manifest, since the removal of fuel subsidy, drug prices went up as high as 150%.
That's right. It still speaks to the question of planning in Nigeria. These guys gave notices in excess of 2 years. We had. Just as we have strategic reserve for food, we should have strategic reserve for drugs. If nothing else, we should have learned from COVID, where countries were holding back pharmaceutical supplies. What did we do to serve as a stopgap, to enable prices continue to remain the same until such a time you find replacements for those companies that we did nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, things that have dragged on for quite some time, Southeast leaders are stepping up their moves, calling on the federal government to consider freeing the controversial leader of the proscribed IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. Yes. We've seen the Senate caucus also throw their weight behind it, saying that he will, abide by any agreement that they eventually sign with the federal government. It appears they're going for the political solution now to settle out of court. What do you make of this?
Well, I think it's in their own interest to allow the law to, take its course. Because right now, I see them taking this position out of fear, because right now, the IPOB and, all these non-state actors are actually the ones in charge. The government and their forces cannot, protect the people. Sometimes, if you speak against these non-state actors, before you know it, they come for you, and the government that you are working for will not be there to protect you. So because of that, I see them pandering to what the non-state
you think this is
actors
more about their political survival than it is about...
Oh yes, and what do you expect? Because you need to be alive even to be able to play politics, and maybe that's what they are looking at. But if you look at it also, this thing has been dragging
for so long.
And if we don't have evidence, against this person, honestly, the best thing is to allow him to go. But if we have all the evidences, then why is it taking us this long to be able to prosecute the case and all that? So I think they are right. It's either we find a political solution to it, or we just allow him to walk a free man.
All right. Before we let you go from the studio, I would like you to quickly comment on the discourse readjusting prices again.
Being a band aid.
No. When I saw it, I said, well, thank God I'm not in band aid.
But just a matter of time before you get adjusted.
But even the way they, came up with the hike, honestly, I don't think there was no transparency, because this is something that they started 3 days back,
That's right.
only for them to start telling Nigerians 2 days after. So you see how we are going about implementing policies in Nigeria, and we are expecting outsiders to come with their money and invest in something that we don't even believe in. Because if we believe in this system, honestly, at least we will respect the people, because they are not getting the electricity free of charge. They are also getting paying.
There should be value for money, regardless
Yeah.
of what it costs to generate that electricity. Well, I'm afraid I think we're completely out of time, but Malam Nasir, it's good to have you back as always. Thank you so much for the analysis. Thank you very much for stopping by yet again.
Thank you.
All right.
I think I don't have a formula for explaining how to disappear. Yeah, but it's fine.
You can only disappear when you write for leave. Anyway, that's it from us today. Thank you as always for being a part of it. We appreciate you for your time and for your company. 360 Sports is coming up at the top of the hour. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Good morning.
All right, it was a pleasure having you today. Hopefully we'll have some positive signposts for tomorrow's conversation. It's been lamentation all through the week, but till then, I'm Sunday Michael Ogudu. Have a great day ahead.